right, what's going on, everybody? My beautiful friends. So we're doing a car video today. I'm on my way to work on my day off, so you know what that means? That means overtime for me. That's right. I've been doing abundance affirmations, just, trying to attract money into my life, having it flow to me. And, next thing I know, they're offering me some extra shifts. So I was like, heck yeah, I'll take that. I need it right now. So, very grateful for this opportunity to help out another store. See, I work at this grocery store called Big Y, and I'm the seafood guy there. And apparently this particular store has, they need a lot of help in seafood. So I am coming to the rescue, closing up today. So I wanted to talk about getting started. Like, if you set a goal of any sort, you have to start somewhere. You know what I mean? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You want something or anything, you need to start. Just like a baby that, wants to be walking and running around. Well, guess what? You got to start somewhere. Got to start, first crawling around on your butt, holding on to something eventually. And, before you know it, you're running around, but you started somewhere. You started nice and slow, nice and easy, taking the very first step. So yeah, my whole thing is I've been a negative person my whole life, and I am trying to make a change to change my negative thoughts that come naturally to me just from thinking that way my whole life. So in order to do that, I had to start somewhere. And so I've been in therapy. I'm not currently in therapy, but I have been to therapists, counselors, that sort of thing, growing up a lot. It started at a very young age. My parents, because of how shy I was, thought that I needed to speak to someone when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and before I even moved to Connecticut. So, I've grown up with that my whole life, talking to someone. But when I was young, I didn't have the words or the way to communicate to really figure out what was going on inside of me. I was pretty shut down internally, due to circumstances, just due to life, due to my upbringing and life and things going on. So, not until later on in my maybe late 20s did I really start thinking about anything. I connected with love when I was in my late 20s, I would say. It's like the first time I really felt what it was like to be loved and to love others. Like really, really, really felt it. I really connected with that vibration. I understood it at that point. This is after, so I grew up religious. I grew up Christian, and this is after I stopped believing fully in what I had been taught when I was, growing up. So I don't fully believe in Christianity anymore, but I connected with love, and it made sense. All of a sudden things clicked. All of a sudden the Bible kind of made more sense to me when I connected with what love felt like for me, to love and be loved. But anyways, so that was a spark when I was 20, a big spark. And once that spark happened, I was able to sit with myself and kind of envision the person I tried to become. I fantasized about who do I want to be? What do I want to be like? What is this? And I didn't have the words to say I want to become, like Ralph Smart says, like my greatest version, or, my highest self, or I didn't really know that's what I was going for. I just wanted to be better than I was because, I wasn't doing good. I was unhappy, doing a lot of toxic stuff, drugs, drinking, the negative mindset that I developed. So I didn't want to live like that. So the thought was there. I don't know if I believed in myself yet, but it started where, I started envisioning what would it be like if I wasn't like this? What if I was, better? So I started envisioning, what did my, better self look like? Because I was super depressed. There were days at a time I wouldn't even get out of bed or anything. Social anxiety through the roof, couldn't go outside, wouldn't talk to anyone for anything. I lived that way for many, many years. And so, yeah, that was, that started, and then life goes on, ups and downs. But basically, so let's just bring it back to present day here, because I started doing these affirmations, and I'm really dialing in on the fact that I want to change my negative thoughts. It just started out as, I wanted to feel better, but now it's dialed in that that's like my main issue, my thoughts, my inner dialogue that I speak, that no one hears because it's in my head. But, I hear it because I'm the one thinking it. And believe me, my inner thoughts are negative. Even if the words I speak didn't come out that way, my thoughts were that way. And so, that's my main thing right now. I am trying to reprogram my thoughts. And so I had to start somewhere. So, I got the idea of this affirmation thing from Prince E. I'll link the video in the description. But that's the video that sparked what I'm doing now. Because it made a lot of sense, He said, we need to reprogram our minds. And that is because they are programmed already. Subconsciously, my mind got programmed extremely negative, extremely. And, that stayed with me for, my whole life. That ain't gonna go away because, that's conditioning. That's years and years of thinking the same way, negative stuff being reinforced. So I was like, if I'm gonna stop thinking like this, it's gonna take some work. It's gonna take effort. I realize that. It's not gonna be like a casual thing and it's just somehow gonna go away. Nah, we're trying to undo a lifetime of negative thinking here. And so, it started off slow. The first affirmation that I wanted to tell myself, that I wanted to remind myself is, I'm killing it. That's the one I always start off with every day. I tell myself that I'm killing it. And I think of why I'm killing it. And for me personally, it's because I really am doing well right now. I've been holding down a job, sober mostly. I haven't drank in almost 7 years now. That's absolutely insane. I could list a billion reasons why I'm killing it. And so that's my first affirmation that I wrote down. I am killing it. And I started saying that to myself. And then other things started coming up too. I'm thinking to myself, all right, what do you want to change? Or what do you want to drill into your head? How do you want to think? And I want to love everyone. So, I have an affirmation that I wrote down that says, all men are my brothers and all women are my sisters, because that's how I want to think of everyone as. I don't want to, pass by people and think of them any less than, a brother or sister. I want to love everyone. And of course I want to love myself first so I could love others. And that's why I call this channel the Love Vibration, because to me it's an energy. Love is like the highest energy, the Holy Spirit, as Christians would call it. And I'm looking to bear the fruits of the Holy Spirit. Even though I said, I don't believe fully in Christianity, there is so much that I take away from it, like the fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Like, that is all stuff that I want to have. And my super wise mother today told me it's actually just one fruit. It's really just love. And all that other stuff I just listed, all the fruits, those are like the nuances of it. But it really just comes down to having love, which I fully agree with and have agreed with. I had a spiritual experience back in the day where I really just realized that, like, love and this high vibration of love, it is kind of just like everything. It's kind of just like the point of everything, to acquire that and to spread it, because every interaction we have has a ripple effect. So, and it could be either positive or negative. And unfortunately, the truth is, I've had so many negative interactions that have caused negative ripple effects, guaranteed down the line. And I'm looking to undo that. I just want to do the opposite, spread love everywhere to everyone. And the reasoning behind that, I'm still trying to figure that out. It feels right when you're doing it. That's all I could say. It's just, that it's the right thing to do. Where that knowing comes from, it's something internal. It's when we do it, we know it's right. It's just something in us. But we have to be at a certain energy to really have that. Because truth be told, when I'm in a low enough state, I have no love. I have no feeling. I literally could watch someone die in front of me and not care. I know that sounds really whack, but that's the truth of it. And so I cannot let myself get there. I need to constantly, and by constantly I mean daily, say the affirmations that help keep me higher. Tell myself that, I love everyone, that I am made of pure love and so is everyone else. And that I have, great connection and interactions with everyone. I need to do this daily. I need to be hardcore about it, because remember, I'm undoing decades. I'm 43 and I've had a negative mentality my whole life, before I was a teenager even. Around the time I was becoming a teenager, that's when it began. So many, many years. And so this is a daily thing for me. I've been doing these affirmations less than a month, and the effect has been absolutely profound, to say the least. Profound. And it started small, but I'm continuing with it. I'm being consistent. It's like working out, okay? So if you don't work out, but you want to start, you have a goal. I want to get in better shape. That's your goal. You have to start somewhere. Where's it going to start? For some people, maybe you can't even stand up. Maybe you can't even get off the couch or get out of bed. So literally step one is making a move somehow. Maybe you're not ready to stand up yet. Maybe you're not ready to get out of bed. But how about just move like your arm? Just tell yourself, I'm gonna move. Anything. Say, I'm gonna move my little finger. And force yourself to do it, even if you don't want to. And then guess what? That's a beginning for you. And that's incredible. And you should be fucking proud of yourself. Even if, you think that's nothing. No, that ain't nothing. That's a start. And that start, if you continue, can turn into something amazingly incredible. It's stranger things have happened. You know what I mean? You would not be the first to start as small as anyone can and to have it turn into something humongous. I believe in that. Because I've done a few things in my life. I learned how to play drums. And it started small. It started with listening. Like, what are the drums doing? Then it started with watching, and then it started with mimicking the movements and, learning and understanding it. Then I got, my first just a drum pad, my first pair of sticks, and then I got my first kit, and, now I've been playing most of my life, and I'm okay, but, but the point is, anything we want to do starts small. I'm in peak physical condition compared to how I've ever been in my life. And it just started with that goal and me saying, all right, I'm going to do it. I remember going to the gym first time. I was in rehab, and, I was like, I'm just going to run. I'll lift a few weights, but like, it was a start. And now, I'm like, really into it, diet, exercise, all that. And the results are there. Because like anything, what you put into it is what you're going to get. That's why with these affirmations, I am hardcore about it. Because I want hardcore results. You know what I'm saying? I'm not waiting to feel incredible anymore, and I know that if I keep up with this daily and be hardcore about it and not half-assed, I will get those results. I know that because I have those results already, not even a month in, and it's so real. Like, the way that when negative or, doubt or any of those low vibrational thoughts pop up now, I immediately recognize it and flip it. I flip it to something else. I say the opposite, I'm so tired, I didn't get much sleep. Know what? Screw that. I'm full of energy, I got some sleep, and that's amazing. And I have enough energy to make it through the day. And it's going to be an amazing day. I'm going to have great connections. See, this is what I do now. I'm training myself to do it, and it's already working. And I know that if I remain consistent, it's going to stay working, and it's just going to keep going. Like, literally, it's programming. It's reprogramming. We've already been programmed. Now it's time to consciously program ourselves with something good, something amazing, claim it. Whatever you want, it's already in you. That's what you got to know. See, a lot of people think it's outside of them, or, I got to look elsewhere. But like, the person you want to be you are that person. It's just a matter of accessing that somehow, some way. And yes, it takes effort. But, I mean, is it worth it? I'm here to tell you it is worth it. I'm proof of it. See, I proved it to myself. And that's, doing this, keeping myself accountable by posting a video every day, that is helping me so much, because I'm like, all right, I'm about to hit record, so I better make this real. You know what I mean? I'm holding myself accountable. I hope... I really would love to connect with other people, because I feel like obviously I'm not the first person to do affirmations, but I see the power in it, and I see how it's working. And if you're a negative, I don't want to call you a negative person. You're a human being made out of love that developed a negative mindset due to circumstances. Not your fault. It wasn't my fault. But now that we recognize it, and if you're feeling ready to change and make that first step, start small. A SMART goal. Set yourself a little goal. SMART. What does that stand for? Oh my goodness, I'm such a bad counselor person. But it's basically, you got to set a goal that you could achieve. Something attainable. Give yourself a time limit. Make sure it's relevant. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure it's, small and attainable, that you could just anything. Literally start anywhere. But the point is, just start. Don't wait. Make the smallest little move, and I guarantee you will be proud. Even if you think other people will think it's nothing, even if you yourself think it's nothing, I'm proud of you for making the smallest little effort in making a change. And I do want to make a video about the stages of change and what SMART goals are, because I can't think about it right now. I forget. But anyways, just start. I just started this channel, the Love Vibration. I got 5 subs right now. I love all 5 of you. One of them's actually me, my other channel. But seriously, just start. See where it goes. Why not? This is our one chance at life, and we have the chance to make it whatever we want. We could do it. I am proof that you could be someone who was so anxious they couldn't go outside, and now I look people in the eye and I stand with confidence. If I could do it, you can. There's no difference. There's literally no difference. We're all made of the same stuff, and I'm here to let you know you could freaking do it, my friend. I'm telling you, for real. It's crazy. I have a smile on my face. There's been years at a time where I've only had a permanent frown, and now it's like turning into the opposite. My life is amazingly incredible. You're amazingly incredible. Even if you don't feel it, you are. Just get started. Whatever you're looking to do. All right, love you. Bye.